and you work in a record store, which I did part-time, and I got 25% discount and everything. So that was the point at which, you know, you start back up again. And so I was CD pretty much all the way through that. We have these ongoing arguments in the DJ community about beat matching and blah, 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 and all the rest of it. For most of the 90s, and I've done, I don't know, 500 weddings, 500, 600 weddings, whatever. For most of the 90s, I did most of my weddings on 2 CD players with no pitch controls. 2 home Sony CD systems, all the rest of it. Managed to put people on the floor, managed to get referrals, managed to make people happy. You know, how do we manage it without beat matching? I don't know, it's a staggering thing. Which just goes to show that it is, as always, about the music, and it always will be about the music. What you do with it is one thing, but it's always going to be about the music. And for me, I don't get into any of these arguments because it just blows my mind. So, I did that for a while. I had my own business for a while. I had a multi-op business, which I was lucky enough to fall into, let's just say. The guy I bought it from was getting divorced and didn't want his wife to have anything. So I offered not only that I got to buy his business, but that I got to buy it out of profits generated by the business he was selling me. So, all right, well, let me get this straight. You're gonna let me have the business, make money, and from that money, pay you for the business. Yeah, all right, yeah, I'll have some of that. So we did that. And then one night in 2002, I was at a wedding. I do a lot of kind of prep work and what have you, but you know, you all know, anybody that goes to these events, you all know that there's only so much you can plan, and then after a certain point, it's kind of like a Mustang. You just kind of have to get on board and go the way it goes. It was one of those nights which just goes absolutely incredible. Just one of those, I mean, it was practically carried shoulder height from the building. I've got the firstborn getting named after me. The bride's dad is grabbing me by the neck and saying, I wanted a band. I always thought DJs were crap, and you know, I never sat down all night. And so you go home, you've got all these compliments ringing in your ears, you've got the adrenaline flowing, and I couldn't sleep. And so I went into this general chat room where I met my wife. And a year later we were married, and I moved 4,500 miles over here to start a new life here. And I didn't want to DJ. Well, it wasn't that I didn't want to DJ. I thought 2 things. I thought, it's a young man's job. I thought, no. And it's a single man's job. Because I'd seen so many people that break up and hadn't managed to reconcile family and DJing and all the rest of it. Plus, let's face it, I was scared shitless. I mean, it's, you know, I'm in a foreign country, I'm starting a new life. I didn't need to be starting a new business, I didn't need to be getting back into it. And plus, there's some pretty big differences between where I was from and where I am now. Main one being, there's no polkas in Scotland. No polkas. And there's no Scottish country dancing over here. You know, just kind of like square dance, you know, that kind of thing. That's the way it is. So there's none of that. Also, in Scotland, you don't play country. Well, that's not true. You might get away with Billy Joe Spears or Tammy Wynette. That's pretty much about it. But you don't play country. You couldn't get arrested playing country in Scotland. Most of the tracks are going to be top 40. It's going to be pop dance. Plus, at a wedding, you'd have a half-hour trance set at a wedding in Scotland, as long as it was charty. Yes, bud. Why no country? Country just doesn't sell. It really doesn't. It doesn't sell. There's a tiny little chunk, like Daniel O'Donnell country. You know Daniel O'Donnell? Do you know that? Yeah. There's a tiny little chunk of Irish sort of culture that loves country.
You guys don't have cowboys?
Oh no, we don't have cowboys. We've got lots of cows and lots of sheep. We have sheep boys. But that's a whole different thing. We don't even go there. Jonathan will explain more about sheep because he has more experience.
Oh. Not personally. Mind
So
you, I did wink at one the other night.
There you go. We have no cowboys, so we have no country. And well, case in point, Shania, you know the Shania Twain album coming over? You know the one, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, That Don't Impress Me Much, all that kind of stuff. They had to completely re-record that in Europe take out all the pedal steel, take out anything that remotely twanged, and replace it with a rock guitar. And then repackage it and send it back out again. And it was massive, yeah, it was, I mean, huge jump, yeah? Huge. Yeah, I feel like, massive.
Yeah.
To hear the tracks back to back, you know, they're practically unrecognizable, because the European track is like, it's got a big dance beat, it's got rock guitars, it doesn't have any twang in it. It's the only way they get played. And likewise, you know, dance music. You know, dance music is chart music. You know, you can have a trance tune or a big house tune. It'll go to #1. It'll be on, you know, the chart shows. It'll be getting played on every radio station. And as such, people expect to hear it at weddings. Whereas, you know, for most wedding DJs in this country, they sneak sandstorming kind of surreptitiously, like, so, hey,